Hey guys, and welcome back. It's Extreme here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the ultimate settings and post-FX guide in Escape from Tarkov 0.13.5. If this video is going to help you guys out, and definitely consider subscribing for more Tarkov videos. Now let's get straight into it. So I figure it would definitely be inappropriate to go and start this video without first mentioning my PC specs. I'm running a Ryzen 5800X, just stock frequency. I've got 32 gigabytes of 4000 megahertz RAM, and I've got an RTX 3070. Now my game is also running on a M.2 SSD, but I'm not really sure if that's going to make too much of a difference in your frames, maybe just some stuttering if you're on a hard drive, but that's really besides the point. So without further ado, let me start showing you my settings. Now, it's pretty similar to the last video that I made, but I've actually done a couple of changes, and so I definitely wanted to share them, especially because these changes have actually made quite a bit of difference, especially on the streets map for me. So what I ended up changing is I now use only physical cores, because for me, for whatever reason, this made quite a difference. And in doing so, I am now getting a couple of FPS more, and so I decided I'm going to keep that on. I have now lowered my FOV down to 50, and that is, it just kind of helps, like, what you see on the screen is smaller, but it also means it's kind of more zoomed in, which really makes a big difference on how you're able to, like, see people. So that actually made a big difference for me. Next up, you want to keep your head bobbing to 0.2, because as you're running, you really don't want to be like shaking up and down. That's just going to end up messing you up and making you miss your shot, or potentially missing a target completely just because your head's bobbing up and down and you can't see him. For down here, you really want to have malfunction notifications on, just in case your gun does malfunction and you're not really like paying attention or don't realize it. So just make sure that that's clicked. So for my graphics settings, they're pretty much the same as they were before, but I kept my texture quality at high. Now I would definitely, if you have a little bit lower on PC or even just graphics card per se, I would recommend taking the texture down to medium, or even try low if you want. It's going to affect how the game looks a little bit, but it will have a pretty good effect on your FPS. For shadow quality, from what I've realized, this is pretty much best just to keep on low, because if you have it on high, it seems to be harder to see people through the shadows. That's just maybe for me, for my eyes, but I've kept it on low, and that seems to also help my FPS as well, so that's what I've been doing. Object LOD quality, I just keep on 2. It has a pretty significant effect on the FPS, but it doesn't really change an insane amount how much the game looks, so I just keep that down on 2 and just leave it there because better FPS. The overall visibility is actually something that I've played with, and I want to show you really quick here. If I increase this up to 2000, you can see I look down here and I can see the tank in that outline of that truck back there, right? That's at 2000. If I go and put this down to 1000, I can still see the exact same thing, and I can still see exactly what I need to in any direction, and I'm not losing that FPS. Maybe if you're on interchange, this might have a difference, but unless you're sniping or something, I would recommend keeping your overall visibility down to only about 1000, because it's going to affect your FPS quite a bit. For anti-aliasing, I recommend TAA, because it's a pretty good mix, and it makes the game just look like nice and smooth and pretty realistic, in my opinion. And it's not the worst frame hit compared to like TAA high. So that's just kind of my balance that I keep it on, just to keep the game looking nice and not get bad FPS. My resampling I keep on 1x, because that's basically like the resolution of the game. If you're really struggling, you can turn this down, but that will make your game start to look kind of blurry. I've seen a lot of people use NVIDIA DLSS if you have NVIDIA card. People have put this on quality and balanced, and I've seen mixed results, both working for different people though. So definitely check this out depending on your card if you're having some issues, as well as the AMD FSR settings. Personally, I haven't had to do this, but if you're struggling and you have an AMD or an NVIDIA card, definitely check out these settings, or maybe search some Reddit forums and see what other people are saying for their cards. Alright, so coming down to HBAO and SSR. HBAO I always like to keep on high because it kind of helps with like the reflections and the lighting in the game, and it just makes things look a lot better. And from what I've realized, it only takes maybe 1 to 3 FPS depending on the map, and for the amount of like difference that you get, I recommend just putting this on high, and it makes the game look a lot nicer. So I would definitely try that out. For SSR, this is literally like what controls the reflections in the game and how everything looks substantially. Without it, the game looks really, really bad. This is actually something that I managed to miss last time, and I had turned off because I just imagined that it was kind of pointless. But this is on high. It's definitely something that you want to have, even though it's going to definitely take a couple of FPS off. No matter what, I would definitely recommend keeping this on high. For the anisotropic filtering, I would recommend keeping that on the per texture. If you keep it on, that is a massive, massive FPS dip, but I believe on per texture, it is only loading up the filtering on the textures that you can currently see, which brings that FPS tank quite a bit down, which is going to be very, very helpful. NVIDIA Reflex, I've just kept that off. Even though I do have an NVIDIA card, I've never really felt any need for that, so I've just kept that off just to avoid like any weird issues. My sharpness, I keep at 0.7. I believe it defaults to 0.6. I just upped it just a tiny bit. I feel like personally it helps me just kind of be able to pinpoint people out of like a bush or something a little bit more. Mess around with that a little bit and see what that does for you though, for sure. All these things on the bottom, I just turn them all off. They're all kind of pointless. They all just are going to hurt your FPS or make the game look weird. So I would just keep that off for sure. For post FX, I'm going to be honest, this is something I just found online. But this happened to be pretty good for me. And it actually helps the game look quite a bit better. Here, I'll show you super quick how it looks without it. So this is without it. Everything looks a little bit like dull and stuff. We'll enable it super fast. And now you can see like the colors in the game and like the wood on my gun and like the greens and everything. Everything is a lot like more vibrant and bright. So this is something, if you want to copy these settings, like I said, I honestly just copied these offline. But I would really recommend these settings. They are very nice and they've been quite helpful. And they actually don't affect my FPS at all. Like you can see right here, getting 91 FPS to 93, 94. And I'll go and turn it off. Once it comes back, as you can see, we're getting literally the exact same FPS. So and you can see again now the colors look all dark and yucky. So I would definitely recommend, I'll pull it up for you one more time, copying these settings, and I will have to find who I found this from and put credit in the description below, but I would definitely recommend these post FX settings. Now, if this video helped you out and is helping you get some more FPS in Tarkov, especially in streets, please be sure to drop a like and a comment if there's anything else that you think I should be adding to this video or letting people know. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys.